Okay, we're live. Welcome to another Nerd Stalker interview. Good morning. This is Greg Gloria, aka Social Greg on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network. Today we're pleased to talk again with the world's garbage man, I call him. That's my nickname for Jeff Kirschner, the founder of a great socially responsible service. We like to call things app, but I really think this is a service. It's called Litterati. And for those who don't know Litterati, they're an organization dedicated to cleaning the planet one piece of litter at a time, or one picture at a time. And I'll let Jeff kind of explain it a little bit more if you haven't heard of Litterati. So, good morning, Jeff. Thanks for joining us here on Nerd Stalker live from the East Bay of the San Francisco Greater Bay Area.
Hey, Greg. Thanks so much for having me.
So, since we talked back in 2013, and I was talking to you offline, that I can't believe time has gone by so that quickly. What has gone on with Litterati? Because you introduced it as a platform, and I thought it was very unique, and I always think how creative it was, because it was actually launched via Instagram, right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to even use the word launch, which I do, but it kind of happened just out of dumb luck. So back then, what had happened was I took this photograph of a cigarette butt using Instagram just because it was on my home screen. There was no other rhyme or reason. And I noticed that suddenly litter became really approachable. It went from being this blight on the ground that I either A, didn't notice, or B, wanted nothing to do with, to, oh, there's a cool photo op. And the second thing I noticed was that after a couple days, I looked at my phone and I had 30 or 40 pictures. And I had picked up and recycled or thrown away every single piece that I'd photographed. And I realized that I was effectively, because of Instagram, keeping a record of the positive impact I was having on the planet. So I didn't know what I could do with that information. I just thought it was interesting. And so I started sharing it with people. And so that one cigarette butt led into what has become a bit of a movement around the world. And we've now crossed over 193,000 pieces in 52 countries. And in that process, we've also started working with a number of organizations in the environmental space, some brands, some cities, and we've now developed an entire platform. So we do have an iOS app that's available, Android's in development, and the idea is to bring this community together and use data to really understand what's on the ground beneath us.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you said you just launched the iOS app, and I think I did see a sneak peek or a preview at SF New Tech, but I was wondering when I was sitting there, why did you switch from Instagram to your own separate app? I thought the play on Instagram was just remarkable. It was actually genius almost.
Yeah, there were a couple of reasons. One was, Instagram, who happens to be rather fond of what we're doing because we shine a positive spotlight on their platform. But one reason is we wanted to end up owning our own experience, right? We wanted to end up designing a user experience that we thought was more organic and more in alignment with our overall objectives. So that's sort of an overarching thought. But also, more importantly, some of the feedback we were getting from our community suggested that we needed to do that. So as an example, many people spent years building their followers on Instagram, right? And they see it as a reflection of their lives. And so the idea for them of putting 50 pictures of cigarettes or bottle caps into their Instagram feed caused a bit of a disconnect, right? I get it. I wouldn't necessarily want to put 100 pieces of trash into my Instagram feed if I go on a litter walk. And that was one. And that came a lot from a lot of the schools we work with, right? So high school students, middle school students, Instagram is a real core part of their identity. And they were a little hesitant to compromise that experience, if you will, which I totally understand. The second thing was that the data that Instagram was providing was less specific than the data that we wanted to gain. As an example, if you are selecting a location on an Instagram photo, typically it's choose a local landmark. It's not gonna, which is fine, but we want a specific latitude and longitude because we believe that really mapping the world's litter is a critical component to understanding more about it. So for those reasons and several others, we decided that we would launch an iOS app. That being said, Instagram still works for us, and there's a 400 million person community, and we use it as a data collection tool and a marketing vehicle. But yeah, that's why we launched the iOS app.
Yeah, I guess you're absolutely right about that. Is that for you to put, if you're in Litterati and wanting to post pictures as part of your general Instagram profile or Facebook profile or anything, could have been any social network, right? I mean, you'd almost have to create a separate identity for Litterati so that it's segmented, or a way like in Facebook does with albums and stuff like that. But still, it goes on the feed, and people could get confused, like, well, why Greg's a marketing executive? Why is he posting all this garbage on us?
That's exactly right. And we actually had a lot of people do just that, create secondary accounts specifically for their Litterati use, which was great, and we learned a ton. But we're excited about where we could go from a user experience perspective within the application itself.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe do another second dive on the app a little bit. So how is the experience you say is different from Instagram, which obviously we all know about Instagram, and it's a great tool for taking pictures, but and sharing. But how is that experience different in the Litterati iOS app now?
Yep. So with the very first version that we've put out, there were 4 improvements we believed over the Instagram experience. The first was the moment you launch the app, you're shown a number of the total global count. That's just a way of saying, here's the total number of pieces that have been picked up around the world. The reason we show that initially is we want people to understand that they're part of a greater community, right? They're not fighting this battle alone. There's other people who are all contributing to the same collective greater good. So that's the first benefit, if you will. The second one was we included a built-in library of tags. We took the 100 most commonly found items on the ground, and we put those into a library so it autofills when you take a picture. You can add any item you want, but we wanted to at least provide the 100 most commonly found items. So the brands that Starbucks, Marlboro, McDonald's, etc.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The third was the geotag that I mentioned earlier. It is automatic and it is hyper-specific. So on Instagram, you're asking the user to do that. With our application, it's automatically done. The same for a timestamp, automatic. The fourth, and what we believe is one of the biggest benefits, is the ability to upload multiple photos with one click. So on Instagram, you can only upload 1 photo at a time.
Right.
With Litterati, you can take 100 photographs and 1 click upload them all. So those were the initial improvements, if you will, that we included in the app. Where we're about to release in a week the next version, which will include the ability for anyone to begin tracking their own impact. So it's a very, very simple metric, but now I can understand, here's how many pieces Jeff Kirschner has picked up.
Okay.
Over time, and that's not some huge, feature, but it just allows me to understand my impact and you to understand yours. Over time, we'll introduce things like historical data. Here's what I've picked up over the last week, month, year, etc. Here are the top 5, 10, 100 things I've picked up. So all about data and measuring one's personal impact. The other thing we are starting to introduce is community. So you'll connect with other people so that you once again feel this sense of empowerment that if you pick up a bottle cap in Seattle and I pick up one in San Francisco, we understand that we're together fighting the same problem.
That's interesting you say that, because you're right. I don't think there's a group function in Instagram, right? I mean, unlike Facebook, right? And so you can't band into these small, like, local community groups which makes sense, right? You want to clean up your community, right? I think there's other people who go outside their community, but I think in general they want, I think that's why the schools get involved, because they want to clean the community around them, right?
I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things we've learned is that there's an opportunity to share stories of impact, right? So one of my favorite stories is there was a school in Modesto, California that used Litterati to identify that the most common piece of litter on their campus were the plastic straw wrappers from their cafeteria. So these 4th and 5th graders went to their principal and asked, why are we still buying individually wrapped straws? And they stopped. So it was a very simple action that they got from an insight because of the data. Imagine if you could take that story and within the application share it to the rest of the community. How many other individuals might say, well, wait a second, that might be applicable in my community? Now you're starting to take one piece of impact and share it at scale. And when you do that over and over and over again, two things happen. One, people begin to understand that we're actually winning this battle. We're actually making a difference. And two, the actual impact occurs in more than just one place, because I guarantee you there are multiple schools where plastic straw wrappers are a very commonly found item on the campus.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of actually cleaning up our neighborhoods, is actually using the schools and at the same time teaching kids that, taking care of your environment around me helps everybody,
That's right. And I think it's incumbent upon us to help empower people to not only make a difference, but find those stories of impact and make them shareable. Because if we can do that, that's uplifting, and people realize, well, you know what, this is a problem that we can really make a dent in, and we can over time really make a change.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes the little bit of energy, right? You're already taking the energy of actually putting your thumb on your shot button on your smartphone, right? So what is the energy it would take, just a little bit of energy, just to take that picture you just took and put it somewhere like in the garbage can, right?
That's right. That's right. Something interesting happened recently, which I guess opened my eyes to the potential for impact. So I was on a litter walk with the folks from Square, and Square's office is located, their main office is located on Market Street in San Francisco between 11th and 12th. They're amazing. They give back to the community in so many ways, and one of them is they do this bi-monthly litter walk. And so one of the executives there asked me, what's the data starting to show? And one of the things we noticed was that in an alleyway between Mission and Howard streets, there were a ton of hypodermic needles. It's an area where addicts tend to shoot up, and we have found many, many, many needles all over the street. And so in 30 seconds of a brainstorm, this executive and I just said, well, what if we just put up a needle exchange? What if we just simply put, even if it was a hacked together, sterilized, secure container on the street, not about shaming anybody, just saying, please dispose of your used needles here. Suddenly, you're providing a service to the public, and you're getting those needles off the street, which does us all a lot of good. And it's the little things like that that over time incrementally begin to add up to a significant impact.
Wow, that's true. The data you guys could provide by tagging, sorting in the database is just incredible. Now on the map, I noticed, I think on the event page, I did put your global map on there because I think it was just, again, showing the impact of what you guys are trying to do with the service. But is there future direction, or is there currently in there right now a way of actually maybe going a couple levels down on what type of garbage that you're finding in these different areas, like needles, for example?
Yes, there is. We actually have what we call the filter page. It's behind the scenes. We give access to all the schools that are using it and companies that we've worked with, and some of our early adopters who really want to see their data. So we haven't pushed that onto the front-facing consumer site, but the idea is to actually incorporate that all into the application going forward. Mm-hmm. But we have all that data, and to your point, it is filterable by who, what, where, and when. So if you wanted to see, just show me Greg's impact, well, you could just filter everybody else's data out and just see yours. If you wanted to see just the needles, or just the Starbucks cups, or just the single-use hot sauce from Taco Bell packet, the where, you can zero into any location, and certainly the when is self-explanatory. But we believe that filtering data by any number of criteria helps us understand more about the problem.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful, because I think showing the impact to people, especially kids, in a global sense, even, if you have the ability to like go 5 miles away from your school, let's say, and school's the center of the map, just seeing that impact, like even showing before and after, right? That is so cool. I mean, since you have the ability to have the timestamp, you now have the ability to do before and after shots, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and so that's wonderful. So anyway, I'll let you get going in your day, helping save the world of garbage there. So it's like talking to Superman or something like that. You got to let him go and do his job the rest of the day. But anyway, so how can listeners get a hold of you and start using Litterati in the new app?
So my personal email is jeff@litterati.org. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to chat, tell you more about what we're building. We'd love you to, if you're on an iOS device, check out the iOS app in the App Store now. And if you're on an Android device, ping me and let me know that it's something that you're interested in, so we can put you on the current to-know list. And anything you can do to participate. We're always looking for passionate people, and this community is growing quickly, and we're excited by what's in store.
Yeah, I think you'll have to create Litterati community managers soon in each area to just manage all the activities going on. I can't imagine you're doing it all by yourself.
There's a number of ambassadors around the world who have really stepped up and made a difference.
Great. Okay, well, thanks again for your time, Jeff, and I really appreciate that. So
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
So thanks for joining us, everyone. That was Jeff Kirschner, the founder of Litterati, who's cleaning up the world's garbage one picture at a time through his new iOS app, which you can get on the iOS store. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Again, this is Greg Glory, aka Social Greg, on Twitter for the Nerd Stalker Media Network, where we believe in tech, startups, design, and you. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and be careful out there. Thanks again, Jeff. Have a great day.